So we are going to record for the benefit of those that can't make class. And we'll document any Zoom bombers that come in. All right, so with no issues so far that I can tell, let's start down the top block in Canvas. And so there's a little bit of introductory material to Darren and I. So I'll let you click on that and look at that on your at your convenience. We won't spend time on it now. But I will have you open up the course syllabus. And there are some details there, the learning objectives, the prerequisites, the textbooks will give you all the materials. What I really want to focus is I want to go right to the grading policy, and let's get that out of the way and see if there's any questions about it. So let me pause for about a minute and let you read the grading policy, and then let's maybe have a discussion or a Q&A about that. Hey, Darren, would you mind going through the grading policy and talking about each of the 3 possible grades?
Not at all. So based on, we taught this class last quarter, and majority of the students really wanted to get certified. So we're going to cover most of basically straight up AWS curriculum on what they call their cloud practitioner certification. So we're focused this quarter on getting you the knowledge to pass that exam. So very simply, if you pass the exam, you get an A. The sort of prior to that, above that is basically, if you are engaged, you do all the assignments, you go through all the modules, that's good enough to get you a B. And then, you know, if you, to take the pressure off just passing the exam for an A, there's an alternate method for getting an A, and that is basically going through the material, you know, complete 90% of it, and then schedule your exam. So I see, all 3 of those are A's, right? So to get an A, let's review the A's. Everyone's focused on A's. Pass the exam, that's one option. Option B is achieve a B by completing 90% of the material and schedule the exam. That they only have to schedule it, Kurt?
That's right.
Okay. And then I didn't know you had those options. Okay. And then the third option to get an A is, again, complete 90% of the material. And then instead of taking the exam, you can complete an extension project that we will come up with. And you can have input in potentially into that project. And then to get a C, this is Kurt's wording, basically just do nothing. So yeah, that's it.
So Darren, I'm just going to kind of re-emphasize that. So the baseline is to receive a B, attempt 90% of all the assigned activities, right? So we're going to put a bunch of activities up on Canvas. We want you to attempt at least 90% of them. We don't actually care much about the score you get because we want to know where you are, right? We want to know how you're doing from the content. So we call that a formative assessment. We want to know how you're doing in it, right? We'll use the results to drive what we talk about in class. Okay, so we'll review the activities in class, often using the results to direct our discussion.
So let me say a little bit more about that. So the way we did this class last quarter is we basically did live polling since we were in person, and we handed out clickers, and we basically did quizzes in real time in class, and that drove the discussion for us. That really helped give us feedback into areas that we should cover more deeply. So we're trying to replicate that in a virtual experience. So we've taken those same quizzes and we've made them available to you online. And our ask is that you go through the module, read all the material you want, put all that away, take our quiz honestly without looking at notes, just to, again, give us that feedback on, so, you know, the next lecture period, you're going to get your own results. You're going to see how you did. You can come to class with questions saying, hey, I didn't do well on this section. I didn't get this question. Can you help me? Or we'll just look at the results prior to class, and that's what will guide what we spend our lectures on. So again, just taking those assessments and just letting us see what you really know and what you don't is really helpful to us.
Okay, so that's kind of our expectation for everybody to do that, right? But let's say you want an A. So here is another way, here is a way to get an A, is do everything needed for a B, prepare yourself, and at least schedule your practitioner exam. What that means is it costs a little bit of your own money to schedule it. We figure if you do that, then you are on your way to passing the exam. So that's how to get an A, is to do everything for a B and then schedule your exam, and you just send us the scheduling notification, which can happen after the class is over. That's totally fine. Okay? Another way to get an A is that you can do everything for a B, and then you don't want to get certified. What you want to do is you just want to use your skill a little bit that you built this quarter in order to do something in the cloud. And we're going to help you kind of identify that and help you get going on it and help direct it, help you scope it. We'll help with all of that. Our experience last time we taught this class was nobody wanted to do that, but we wanted to leave it as an option, okay? So those are two ways to get an A, is schedule the practitioner exam or do your own extension learning project, okay? There's actually a third way, and that is don't do one thing in this class except maybe use the materials we provide and just go get yourself certified and show us you passed the exam. That's another way, right? And if you just want an A out of this class and you're already a guru at the cloud, go get yourself an AWS ACF certification and you're good. We don't anticipate that happening, but there may be somebody out there. Okay, so we've been talking about certification now. Darren, would you mind bringing up the AWS certification graphic and maybe just talking for a minute or two about the different certifications?
Not at all. I can do that. Let me just bring it up. Okay, so if you Google AWS certification, this is one of the top pages you will find. This kind of gives you the overview to all their certifications and the domain they fall under.
Darren, would you mind blowing it up a little bit?
No problem. Better?
Yep.
Okay. So this course is targeting this foundation level, right? So the certification you will all be able to achieve after the material we cover should be the Cloud Practitioner Cert. It's a foundational cert, you know, designed to prepare you to, you know, enter some of these other areas. The emphasis of the cert that we're covering is sort of an overview of a lot of the services that Amazon offers. We're going to talk more about what that means. Terminology, just a familiarity with the ecosystem that Amazon provides. There's an architect path, and then there's sort of this DevOps path, which includes operations and development. So we also teach a course at this level. We're teaching concurrently this quarter an architect class. And then Kurt and I are certified to teach some of these other areas. And then after you get some of these, you basically look at some of the specialty certs to get deeper knowledge. So I just attended a webinar last week. There was a gentleman from AWS Academy. He said he was looking on Indeed for jobs, searched for developer, found 100,000 jobs, searched for cloud, and said he found 160,000 jobs. So the group of individuals that we work with are telling us that these certifications are in huge demand, and the number of jobs out in the market right now is plentiful. So take that for what it's worth. And then when we get closer to actually getting you ready to take that exam, you can click on some of these links and get lots of resources about the format and how the exam works and study guides, and we'll get to that later though. Is that enough, Kurt?
I think that's good. So let me just pause for a minute. Darren, will you stop your share?
Yeah.
Let me just pause for a minute and see if there are any questions at all about the grading scheme or the certification path. Don't be shy about posting something to the chat or coming online and asking. We'll just pause for a minute.
Hey Kurt, Jamie here. So for the ACF test, how often is that offered?
It's offered online, and I have never actually taken it online, but you schedule it within a few days. You're proctored, so that means it's likely. Darren, you know that process a little better than I. Describe that proctoring process when you take the online exam.
Yeah, they recently started offering this exam at your own home. You used to have to go to a testing center, but with COVID, this has become increasingly more popular. So basically, you sign up to take the exam, and you have to have a laptop with a camera and a microphone. And similar to a Zoom session, while you're taking the exam, you're forced to have your camera on. Someone watches you take the exam. They ask to look at your exam area. So you basically have to take your camera, show them around your desk, show them there's no notes. And then as you're taking the exam, they just watch your eyes and make sure you're focused on the screen. It's all multiple choice questions, so you should have no reason to look down or do anything else. And then that's it. So it's really convenient. To directly answer your question, Jamie, it's offered plenty of times because it's virtual now. You just have to schedule it. I imagine you could probably get an exam within a few days if you needed to. So.
Okay, cool. Got it. Thanks.
Good question. Anybody else? The question on the chat is that proctoring option compatible with Mac computers? And yes, it is. Unfortunately, I'm a Windows user. Darren's a Mac user.
Unfortunately? You said unfortunately.
Yeah. Anyway, Darren's Mac, I'm Windows, so we got it covered. But the answer is yes, Lauren. Okay, well, our experience is usually there's some confusion about the grading scheme. We want to be very transparent and very upfront. We want you to do well. We're not serving any kind of filtering, and we're not trying to determine who's a serious student and who's not. Really, Darren and I just want to teach you about the cloud. And although we're focused on AWS in this course, AWS is not the only cloud company. There are several to choose from out there. They all do similar things. Darren and I have gone down the path of AWS just because Cal Poly kind of went that way, so we kind of followed that path. Darren was a real catalyst that helped Amazon's integration into Cal Poly and a lot of what we do. So Darren is a technical expert, and I'm learning all the time. So we have taken the AWS path, but for sure, we're not a commercial for AWS. We just happen to use this cloud platform. Anything to add there, Darren?
Nope.
Okay, so if you do have questions about the grading, don't hesitate to send Darren and I an email, and we can clarify that over email. I think we're ready to move on. Okay, so I'm back to the Canvas course. We've talked about the syllabus. The next item in the top block is the course outline from AWS Academy. So we're going to provide an online set of resources that is going to be the basis of the training. Those are asynchronous, right? You can watch those and do those anytime, and that's actually going to be your homework, is to do this online course that Amazon's providing. But this is the outline and objectives. And our experience is there's a bunch of topics here that will sound really foreign and strange to you. But anyway, there's the course outline for the online Amazon course. And our job is to kind of reinforce, answer questions, add some value to walking through that online course on your own. Anything to add there, Darren?
Nope, you're doing good.
Okay. The next item is the persistent links. And I'm not going to actually talk about each of these right now. We're not going to do them, but at some point you're going to want to come back and probably find these links.
You don't think that's worth talking about?
Well, I think it's talking about, we could say, here's the Zoom link. You guys know what Zoom is. Here's the link to register for the online course. That takes you creating a new user at AWS Training, and then you will be enrolled in this course. The Vocarum labs are the hands-on labs that are associated with the AWS course. The Vital Source bookshelf is where all the PowerPoint slides that we'll use and that the online course uses. We're going to talk through getting you signed up for these 3 items today a little bit later. And then also we're going to do an online quiz here pretty quick, and there's the link to connect to the online quiz. Okay, so we're going to come back and use those, but they are always available up there in the top block whenever you need to go find them. Is that deep enough, Darren?
Thank you.
Okay. All right, let me just see on my my plan here what we're doing. So Darren, I think we're down to doing the interactive quiz. Before we do that though, you've had a minute to digest about the certification. And so what I'd like to do is just take a poll, give me a yes or no that you plan to get certified this quarter, or you plan not to. And a no would mean I'm going to take the class, but I'm not going to take the certification exam.
Same as last quarter.
Yeah, pretty consistent. So I don't see any no's. I see a few unanswered. And if you're not answering because you don't know how, it's just because you don't have the participants window open and you don't click the yes. Or maybe you're a Zoom bomber. All right, excellent. So that's good news. Darren, would you talk for a couple of minutes about the benefits you see of being AWS certified?
Yeah, sure. So I mentioned briefly that the webinar I attended last week, the job market demand is clearly there. Just anecdotally, when I got certified and put that in my LinkedIn profile, I started getting a lot more hits. Amazon is again one of the motivations of why Cal Poly selected AWS is they are market leader. They are what's the Magic Quadrant? Who does that survey? The business students know. They are the leading cloud provider in the Magic Quadrant. So they're, as you enter the workforce, even if you are not working for Amazon, there's a high probability that your company that you work for will use some cloud technology. And right now, a majority of them seem to be using Amazon's cloud technology. So, just knowing that that the demand is out there and that this cert is in high demand, I think is a motivation. And so I work at I didn't get a chance to give you a quick background. I work at the DX Hub, which is a partnership between AWS and Cal Poly. When we decided we were moving to the cloud, basically Amazon, the values aligned with Cal Poly to the point where they wanted to start a partnership with the university. So we were the first globally institution that basically combined with Amazon to work on public sector projects. So I basically get paid to solicit public sector entities to send us their toughest problems and challenges. And then we use Amazon's cloud technology to solve those problems. So, we're working on currently improving the sustainability of reducing deforestation due to palm oil. So we have 18 challenges with the World Bank. I'm doing stuff locally with our juvenile hall system to help improve behavior in the system. And so all of that is done through Amazon technology. And everyone that works at Amazon, even the business people, all have to have this certification. So, just this knowledge of how the services work will help you. Not that you're going to be a sort of cloud geek like me, but just the ability to have conversations with your colleagues about what those technologies can do and how the cloud functions is really going to benefit you. And the cert is sort of the way to justify and prove to your employer that you're competent in that technology. Is that enough, Kurt?
Yeah, that's good. And the thing I would add from all of your perspective is it's just an additional little thing for your resume that says you have knowledge of how to work with cloud computing technologies. So we've had a couple of reports from some of our former students that say, hey, my ability to talk about this in my interview, I felt really made a difference. Or I got an interview because the company was working on cloud technologies or something like that. So it may open a few doors, of course, for you. That's what the certification may do. But then, of course, our experience is what really matters is, are you skilled? Are you able to do things that actually have results? Plus, it's just, for me, it's super fascinating. The things that are possible now, it's not quite as revolutionary as the internet. And I know you all have grown up with the internet, but Darren and I came from a time before the internet, before we could ask Google things. But it's really been a revolutionary thing in computing technologies that's happened in the last 10 years. And it's just super fascinating for me. Let me just go back really quick to that certification diagram. And again, what we're working on for you is the cloud practitioner. Darren and I both have this level of certification, right? We have architects, operations, and developers. And then there's a real mastery level called professionals. And those are people that really have careers in that. So here, Darren and I we're kind of in the middle. I would say we're advanced intermediate users is what we are. Darren has a lot of software programming and development, so he's pretty advanced in those parts. I have very old, 20-year ago experience with IT systems back when they used to be, you would own the servers in your closet. So those are kind of our backgrounds, and for us, having these certifications at this associate level has given us each many opportunities to do interesting things. So anyway, we think it's valuable, but that's kind of our story about it. So Darren, I'm ready to move on. If there's no questions, I'm ready to move. Oh, we got a question from Mark. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, just have a question. So you were talking a lot about like AWS and like clouding in general. I was just wondering how specific this class as well as like the certification is to AWS, and then how far all the stuff that we learn and would do in the exam would be applicable to, let's say, Oracle or Google or like different providers.
Yeah, great question. So the competitors, the major competitors are kind of, they're Google, they're Amazon, and then there's some other minor players, right? And we are going to be very specific on AWS because you have to get to a console, a tool to be able to implement these things. And the different cloud providers will all have their own set of tools to do them. But what I will say is the concepts that we're going to cover, things like computing resources, storage resources, security resources, those categories will be present in any cloud technology. So the broad concepts are definitely applicable. The specific way on how to do it are very specific for Amazon. Darren, would you add anything to that?
No, just further what you said, that there is a paradigm, there's a different way of thinking about things in the cloud, and all of those thought processes will extend to any cloud provider, but the implementation is proprietary, right? The implementation is specific to a particular vendor, but the idea of like the first week, we're going to talk about, shifting from, buying lots of servers to renting them, right? That concept translates across all providers. So a lot of the big picture ideas translate well, but again, when it comes to implementation, each vendor has their own specific way to implement it. And again, even a lot of them are similar too. They all have some version of compute, right? So we're going to talk a lot about compute. So that will extend to all of them. They all have some mechanism to store stuff, but they each have a very specific way to do that. So.
A good question, Mark.
Thank you, that answers it.
Okay, so what we're going to do right now is we're going to practice with this quiz tool we call So Creative. And I'm going to send you a link in the chat window. So open up your chat window and be ready for that link. And what I'll send, when you click on the link, you have to sign in with your Cal Poly username. So mine is K Colvin. Don't include the @calpoly.edu, just your username. That's what you sign in with, okay? So here comes the link in the chat window.
It's also in persistent links.
It's also in persistent links, yep. All right, so you should have one window up that has my screen so you can see what's happening on my end, and then another window up where you're going to answer the questions. So I see students are already answering the question. That's great. So far, only 21 students have signed on, so we're going to wait just a minute for everybody to get on. If you have troubles, let us know. There should be something like about 33 students in the class. We're up to 30.
I see 35 names that aren't you and me. I got total of 38 participants in the meeting, and you and I are 3 of them.
Yep.
So
maybe not everybody's here.
32, getting close. I'll have to assume it's 32 today, I guess.
Yeah, I'm the one having difficulty with it. Do we put our Cal Poly ID for the student ID?
Yeah, just your username without an @Cal Poly.
Oh, okay.
I'll demonstrate real quick. Kurt, can I share for just a second?
Sure.
Okay, I'm in. Thank you.
Well, we got it.
We're close to 35. Emirates. Okay.
Okay, so now we have 32 of 34 students answered. So if you're on, you just need to click on one of those to answer it. 33, we're close. So Darren, you must have signed in to So Creative and taken over.
Oh, sorry, did I?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, man. I was double checking a student was logged in. I forgot about that.
So I'm gonna go back, is that okay?
Yeah, I'm signing out, sorry.
That's okay. All right, so we are back to wait for one student. So 5 seconds unless you ask for help. Okay, so let's move on. So let's see what people's major are. Oh, it's dichotomy, MBA or business analytics. Guess that's not so surprising. All right, let's go to the next question. Okay, 10 seconds. Oh, that's a little more balanced. Interesting. Okay, so pretty evenly between business and science, a few engineers in there. How about the others? Would you either say it or type it in the chat window just to know what the other undergrad majors were? Political science, all right. Graphic communications, math, history, geography, sociology, stats, philosophy, history, agriculture. Cool. Pretty diverse. That's neat. All right, let's go on.
Be prepared for this one, Kurt.
I guess if you don't know what an operating system is, then mark other. All right, here we go. What's your anticipation, Darren? You think it's 80% Mac?
Yep, that's my guess. Oh, wow.
Woohoo!
I can't
Windows.
believe it. Oh my gosh, okay.
Windows
They're
is better.
They're business students.
Yeah. Interesting. Oh, and somebody's running Linux on their primary computer. That's cool. Hey, just by a show of hands in the participants window, who has never heard of Linux before? Who does not know what Linux is? Ah, everybody knows. That's good. We're going to work in Linux this quarter a little bit. Not a whole lot, but a little bit. Okay, let's go on. Five seconds. Oh, we got a guru in the bunch, Darren. Right on. Oh, was that you?
I picked Guru.
Oh, okay. All right. So that's pretty much what we anticipated. That's good. And to be honest with you, understanding cloud computing takes a little bit of background knowledge in information technologies in general. And our experience with this class is many students do not have that background. And so we're going to start kind of at the basics, and we're going to flood you with a lot of new terms and a lot of concepts that are going to be pretty challenging at first, but we'll just keep coming back to them and we'll keep re-emphasizing them. So if you really don't have that background, don't be intimidated, because we're going to help you build that background, and we're going to start with that today. But for sure, you need to know a little bit about IT infrastructure in order to understand how cloud computing works. Okay, let's move on. Ten seconds. All right. Guess it should have been even across the board. We'll come back and talk about this question more today. The correct answer is all of them. Ten seconds. All right, the correct answer is A. But all those other things mean something too, and we'll get to that. 5 seconds. All right, TCP is a manager of conversations between computers. So that doesn't surprise us. Not everybody knew that. We'll come back and talk about it. Five seconds. All right, this is starting to get pretty deep into some networking concepts, but we'll talk about it a little bit this quarter. The correct answer is 32 binary bits, which is 4 bytes, which is 4 decimal numbers between 0 and 255. All of those are examples of a server. All of those you can run on a cloud-based server. We'll do about 4 or 5 of them this quarter. Five seconds. So the only thing here that a virtual machine is not is a set of hardware components that you could go put your finger on, because the hardware is very abstracted from us when we're using the cloud. Computing resources happen somewhere on some hardware, but we really have no idea where that hardware is specifically located, or if the RAM and the CPU are in the same box. We have no idea, and we have no need to know that. A virtual machine is just that. It appears to us as a computer, and we can use that computer. Yep, those things are all the same. We talk interchangeably about a virtual machine, a VM, an instance, a host, a server. Those are all those abstract things that just appear to us to be computers. Five seconds. You might be surprised that Linux is by far the most used operating system on virtual machines. Windows is a distant second. There may be a few Macs. Is there such a thing as a virtual Mac machine, Darren?
Not yet. Amazon still doesn't have like a workspace that's Mac, and so it doesn't really exist.
So we think Mac OS does not exist as a virtual machine. That may not be true, but that's our understanding, especially on Amazon.
Especially on Amazon.
Okay, last question. Five seconds. Ah, 82% of them are mentally present, Darren. That's good to know.
Pretty good numbers.
Yeah. So let me show you here what happens when it's over is Darren and I can see how you've done, right? So we're going to use these quizzes often this quarter, and the results we're going to use to drive what we talk about in class. Okay, so you saw the first 4 questions, that was mostly just information. But for the questions that have an answer, we can see how you're doing. And we'll know pretty quickly if you're not getting the questions that we anticipate you should get. The reason we're using these multiple choice format quizzes is because that's exactly how the certification exam works. Every single question is multiple choice, and they tell you how many answers are correct. So if they don't say, it means 1 answer is correct. If they tell you 2, then you pick exactly 2. So the questions have a very rigorous structure, and Darren and I are going to try to train you through the quarter on how to anticipate the correct answer in questions like that. Okay, so that's how we're going to use the Socrative online exams or quizzes. So it looks like it's about 1:04. Let's take a 5-minute break. We're going to come back at 1:10, and the next thing is Darren's going to demo a little bit about the AWS console, how to use resources. All right, so we're on a 5-minute break. Email me or message me in the Zoom chat if you have questions or comments. All right, a few good questions and discussions happening in the chat window. Good questions. All right, Darren, are you ready to give us a little AWS console demo?
I am. Okay, so what we're going to show you, I'm going to kind of walk through the experience that you guys will use for your lab so you can kind of know what to expect. So the course material that we have for you has that lab environment that is part of those persistent links, and that's the Vocarum link is. So what this does for you guys is allow you access to a real AWS environment where you can launch real virtual machines and experiment on your own. So I'm just going to kind of show you how easy it is to basically launch an instance is what they're called. Basically what that means is I'm going to turn on a computer in Oregon or wherever because we're going to also talk about this. Amazon has global presence, so they actually have data centers all around the world. So when I click on this link, it should open up a Vocarum window. You guys should all have received an email from them on how to set your password and log in. So I did that already, and I'm going to log in. I'm going to go over to my class. I'm going to pick this one. So here are all the labs that we're going to do this quarter. And then we're going to sometimes have you do challenge labs. The labs that are part of this series are fairly scripted and kind of just walk you through step by step on what to do. And Kurt and I feel strongly that the real learning happens as a result of sort of struggling through it on your own and maybe having to figure some stuff out on your own, which is kind of what will happen after you leave here to do some real work. So I'm going to click on the sandbox environment. I'm going to click my work. And so this basically opens up a panel that shows me that basically these are the instructions for the lab. And in this case, since it's a sandbox lab, it's basically wide open. It basically says, you know, you can do a lot and here's what you're limited to. So I can launch a computer somewhere. So let's see, once I launch let me just start lab, and while it's starting, I can let you guys read that. So this is basically telling me, you know, I will be limited to the size of a computer that I can start. I can start nanos are, no surprise, very small, and mediums start to get bigger and bigger. And then I'm going to be limited to the compute and all that. So what this tells me is after I click Start Lab, what's happening is an environment is being prepared for me in AWS, which is ultimately translates to an Amazon account. So this account, oh, beautiful, lab is ready. So once I see lab is ready, I can close this window. And then scroll back up here. I can't scroll back up there. That's funny, I can't get back up there. So I was trying to show you guys the, it's because I'm using Safari, I guarantee it. The environments are basically here. So if I click details, it shows me some details about logging in, hopefully. There we go. So this is that the lab was started, and then you might need these things later. These are basically just like keys to your front door. They're keys that allow you to log into one of the computers that you launch virtually. But I'm going to click on the AWS tab here. And what that does is, if you guys all noticed, I got that pop-up block. This will happen to you too. You'll have to enable pop-ups in your browser. Try that again, like that. I wonder if it's because I'm already logged in. Let's try this, console. Okay, so log out. I think it thought I was already logged in because I just did this demo. So that shouldn't happen to you. If you get a message like that, you just need to log out of an Amazon console. So if I click this again, it should open up a new window, and it should automatically log me into the AWS console. So this is the AWS console. I can click on services basically, and I can see these. We're going to talk about services later, but these are all of the different services Amazon currently provides to its customers, right? So there's a variety of different high-level subjects like compute, like storage, like database, and so these are the services that are within those areas that allow me to do a variety of different functions. So today I'm going to do a quick demo on launching a computer. So I can see here in the upper right here, by default, I'm in the US East 1 region, which is North Virginia. So right now, we're going to launch a computer in North Virginia. So I'm going to click EC2. That shows me a list of all the EC2 instances that I have running. I currently have 0. But then I can just click this Launch Instance button. And so now I get to pick the flavor of operating system I want. You can see there's many Linux choices. There's some Windows choices. There are no Mac choices, unfortunately. So I'm going to pick the top one, click Select. And so now I'm getting to pick the size. You guys saw I was limited to certain sizes. You see here there's some nano, there's some micro, there's some medium. So I'm just going to take the micro one that they've given me. It says it's free tier eligible. We'll talk about that later. And then I'm going to click on no subnets found. Interesting. To launch an instance. Huh. I wonder if the CloudFormation template didn't finish right. Never seen this before. You ever seen that before, Kurt?
I have not. I'm starting mine up, so I can take over here in just a second.
You know what? I could just quickly switch over to my other environment.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I started and stopped a bunch of these today, and that might be the problem. Let me just try one more time. I've never seen that before. Launch instance. This one. Configure. Okay, I'm just going to do it in my account. It's easy. So I have my own personal, well, I have my work account as well. Part of the resources you'll see is you can create your own account if you want. So I'm going to do I am user, and this is going to be DX. So you guys can create your own accounts if you want. And there's a free tier eligible. The first year you open an account, you have access to a bunch of services that literally cost you nothing. So now I'm in an account that has a lot more going on because this is a real account. So we can see a bunch of running instances. So I'm going to go back to that launch instance. So now I'm in Oregon now because most of the activity that we do is located in the Oregon Data Center. So I'm going to go back to the same screen, launch an instance. So now I'm going to add some user data here. We'll talk about this more in depth later, but basically I can pre-configure. I can run some commands on this computer that I'm going to start in Oregon as it starts up. So you'll see I can click add storage, and then next thing is going to be a security group. We're going to talk about all this later, but I'll just kind of mention it briefly. So this is what the machine will have access to in terms of traffic. We talked a little bit about TCP and traffic that comes in. So I'm basically telling this launch wizard that I want to be able to access HTTP traffic. What I copied and pasted quickly in that user data was I want to actually I'm launching a web server on this machine. So I'm going to click HTTP to allow that to come in, and then I can basically say, okay, I want to actually launch this computer. So what it's doing now is it's taking all those parameters, those attributes that I specified, and it's launching a computer. So now, if I come back to my window, you can see the state is pending. So right now in Oregon, little gremlins are twiddling their fingers and making a computer start such that I can now access that computer. And so the computer has been assigned an address that is human readable. We talked a little bit about IP in the quiz, and we're going to talk a little bit more about these things coming up. But this is a friendly name, not that friendly, but it is a name that I can enter into a browser and then actually see if the web server has launched. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this in a window, in a chat window, and then you guys can chat. Okay, so I'm going to paste this to everyone, and then you guys can try to go to that. Let me maybe make it HTTP here. I can go there myself. HTTP. And if I do that, it brings up this web page. So what I want you guys to do to verify that you've been able to load this web server, so remember, this is a server that is now in Oregon that's running HTTP Apache instance. Go ahead and click on Fun Demo and then send me the response in private chat so that I know you're able to load this page. So just to review, while I'm waiting for those answers to come in, we went through a wizard and basically started up a computer in the Oregon region and put in some commands, and were able to start up through a web page another computer in Oregon. So we're going to learn later in this course, there's ways to automate this so that you don't even have to type things or click things in a GUI. You can just run a command to do this. But as you can see, in a couple of clicks, I was able to start up an instance. Looks like most people are getting it. So, yep, pretty simple. Any questions about that? Or Kurt, anything you want to add?
Yeah, Darren, I will, I'm going to share my screen for a sec.
Sure.
So what I wanted to point to is Darren did that demo live right there. And if you go to the end of week 1 module, down at the bottom, I have the same demo that I've recorded. So you'll be able to watch that demo whenever you want in a bit slower mode and watch it work. And I use the Vocarum Sandbox Lab too, so you'll see me start that. So anyway, it's recorded if you want to see that. That was just a quick demo of getting into the AWS console and creating an instance or a virtual machine that has a web server loaded on it.
Hey, Kurt, should we mention, since you covered it, the challenge labs and what they are? And
I thought we would do that when we review what's due next week.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Oh, I guess I should, there's lots of people posted the answer. So for those of you that aren't geeky enough to have read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, that's a quote from the movie. So the answer is 42. If you Google that and read the Wikipedia page, you can learn more about that. So I got some interesting answers.
All right, so we might just pause for a second and see if there's any questions. Okay, let's go back to Canvas for a minute. Let's just walk down through week 1 together so you can see what's there. And our intent on Canvas is we'll post a new week every week. We'll likely open it up early in the week. So week 1 includes all the assignments that are due next Wednesday by class. And then when week 2 comes up, it'll have all the assignments that are due the following week, week 3 by class. So they're broken up into modules. And the idea is that you just start at the top of the week and work your way down, right? So kind of good instruction includes what we'll be learning this week. And so our quizzes and our assignments will be focused on trying to build these skills and these knowledge. Under the learning activities, we have some pages that are working on giving you that IT background a little bit. So some of them are just kind of basic information. I would say activity 1 is very basic. Activity 2 deals a little bit with networking. That may be some new content for you. So after you read the page and study that material, there may be some videos and links in there. Then you would go back to the module and you would take the quiz associated with activity 2. So again, that's just checking your knowledge is all it's doing. Again, we just want you to take the quiz so we can see the results. We would just as soon you take that with no notes or no memory, just using your memory, so we kind of know what's sinking in and what's not. Activity 3 is similar. Activity 4 starts to talk about cloud computing a little bit. Activity 5, we actually want to jump to this right now, and we want you to go ahead and create your accounts. So we're going to give you a few minutes to get these 3 accounts going. There's the AWS training, there's the Vocarum. You should have gotten an email from Vocarum. It's from support@vocarum.com. It's an invite to create a user and get into our labs. And then there's another one that's the vital source. That's the PDFs of our slides that we'll go to. So you should have gotten an email from noreply@vitalsource.com. And the link that we always go back to is this AWS Academy, Cal Poly State U VST bridge. So let's pause for a few minutes. Let's let you work on activity 5. And Darren and I are here. We're administrators, so we can help with those. Please use only your Cal Poly email address. That will simplify things. And please use a browser. Darren, what are the approved browsers for doing this?
I think the major ones, Safari, Chrome, and Firefox.
Safari, Chrome, and Firefox. I use Firefox and have virtually no problems with it. So sometimes there's some issues. Internet Explorer will kill you, so don't use that. Okay, so we're on pause. We're here to help. We'll come back on in a little while, and we'll kind of tie up the day. So please create your accounts and let us know of any problems.
A couple people, Kurt, on the chat didn't get a Vital Source email. I'm asking them to check their junk or their spam folders.
Okay, I can go to Vital Source 2 and resend the email. So if you send me the usernames.
Yeah, I will. Jess McMillan.
Okay.
And Louis Kalmar. Mark. Oh, wow. Lots of them. Wasn't there a thing?
So they often go to junk.
And
Or
wasn't there a
spam.
thing where you had to go sign up yourself, Kurt, on the Vital Source one? Remember you had to I forget, what if you just go to the permanent URL, persistent link for the Vital Source bridge? Don't they have to create their account or something? I remember that.
What does the getting started me say? For Vital Source, right?
Maybe try, wasn't it first time here? Click get started.
stand by. I'm going to the vital source part of getting started guide.
Okay. I do recall this. Yeah, while you're looking, oh, you're showing people. Okay. Oh, yeah. There it is. Click getting started. First time here. So that's right. You might not have gotten a vital source email, but if you look at Kurt's screen right now, basically, I can share my screen as well. Kurt, is it okay if I switch over?
Sure, yeah.
Let's see here. So if I go to the permanent links, let me work backwards here. If I just click on this link, AWS Academy-Cal Poly, I just noticed that's our custom URL, funny. If I click on that, it brings up this page. So if you, for all of you that don't already have a vital source account, you need to click on this, get started. And then enter, we've all registered your Cal Poly emails. So put in your Cal Poly, full @calpoly.edu email address. And then because your email has already been registered, I think they send you a, this might not work for me since I've already done it, but I think it says, okay, we've sent you an email now, try again or something. Yeah, so I already have an account. So most of you don't have a vital source account, and that's why you did not get an email. So you have to click on getting started. Okay, so hopefully that resolves it. If anyone has clicked through the getting started, oh yeah, perfect. So Jess said creating an account works, that's good. So yeah, that's right. For vital source, you got to create your own. And again, vital source is just a copy of the slides that you will be presented in the modules. There's a little video with someone talking and going through the content. It's basically a copy of those slides, so you don't have to write down what's on the slides. Oh, and the other recommendation, Kurt, is the app. Do you have that the apps that you use for Vital Source?
I do. I'll talk about them here in a minute.
Okay. So Lauren's asking a question. I'm just going to demo this again really quick. If I go to persistent links, I click on this guy right here, Vital Source, Bookshelf. I click on that. That brings me to this, and then it's right here, Getting Started. Did that help, Lauren?
Yep, all good, thanks.
Cool.
All right, I updated activity 5 page to be more accurate on vital source. So when you do get to vital source, it'll look like this right here. You'll have a bunch of documents and you have to activate them to see them. Okay, I'm gonna try to help Michael. Let's see if I can get Michael Williams going.
Okay, a couple people are noticing that when you resend, they got the email. They originally didn't get the email, but then resending fixed that. And you know, the most important account is the actual training account. Let me just show. That's that register for AWS training course. Let's share my screen and show it to you. So really, this is where all of the content comes from. And then this is where you'll do the labs. In the past, students have said that the vital source documents are not as helpful, but we'll definitely get you there. I wouldn't stress right now, though, if you can't get that one working. The most important two that you know we need to move forward is the first two. But don't worry, we'll figure out how to get the other ones working for those of you that are stuck on vital source. I just wanted to say, don't stress so much about vital source because it's probably the one you'll use the least. Okay, good. Other students are getting their other accounts.
It seems like Michael Williams doesn't have a user yet, so I will add him.
Vital source?
Yeah, working on it.
Okay.
Okay, I think we got Michael. Hopefully that email is coming. So how about Dekai Tang? Let me look at that one.
I'm looking at his account right now. No titles have been activated. It looks good.
He's in?
I mean, there's nothing I can tell that's bad. I don't know that he's still in, that he's gotten in. How about to help Kurt and I out, maybe if you're still having trouble with Vital Source, maybe you could raise your hand and then Kurt and I can divide and conquer and work with those that still don't have access to Vital Source. Okay, Lauren still doesn't. So I'll take Lauren.
Okay.
I tried to resend the email, but
yeah.
it didn't go through, I think.
Huh.
So Parker, Bert, just send me a private Zoom chat and tell me where you're stuck.
Can you resend from the admin side, Kurt?
I don't think so.
Oh,
And remember, it's got to be Cal Poly email addresses, right?
yeah. So I'm going to share my screen. Are we allowed to share email addresses, Kurt?
I think so. So I'm waiting for a private text, a private chat from Parker, Bert.
Okay, so Lauren, let me check, see if I can find Lauren. Okay, so
this is Mark. I just had a question. So we should have be getting an email from Vital Source, right? Just check spam, and if we
Yes.
haven't, then that's where we're at.
well, let me be clear. Once you've clicked get started and then you enter your email into the Vital Source webpage. So there's from persistent links. Here, I'll demo it. Right? Hopefully you're so from persistent links, you click on this guy. That opens a new window which asks you for your account. I'm already logged in here. Let me sign out. And then everyone has to click on first time here, get started. And there you enter your email. Once you type your email into this box and click submit, you should then get an email.
Gotcha.
Okay, so let me,
I have a quick question. Can I share my screen?
please, maybe, let me see.
Okay. Yeah. Because I try to monitor the request, the post request, and it has the response with email does not exist.
Okay, great. Let me check, make sure we got the right email in there for you then.
I can send you the HTTP response private.
Sure.
Darren. It says exist false.
Okay, let me see. Place here. Okay. Your email. Oops. And your email should be that DIT. Okay, let me see if that exists. Yeah, that's the email address I show in the system. Here, I'll copy back what I saw. This is the one that's registered. That's the same one, right?
Yep. Yep.
I mean, I could try to delete the account, delete user and recreate it. Okay, let me create a new user for you then. Add a user. You are a student. Your email is this. Okay, I just re-added you. Now let me add you to the class. Okay, try again. I just re-added you. Let me get back to Lauren here. All right, let me try deleting and recreating your account too. Did that work, the guy?
Unfortunately not.
So
I
when you
checked the,
click on get started and you enter that email address, it says no go.
yeah,
It's so weird.
there must be like a database synchronization problem.
Email label. My only options for you are to look at your user details and looks good. What are you doing, Kurt? What is there a path forward here?
So for Madeline, I deleted her user in the admin bridge,
Yep.
and I think she's testing it right now.
Okay. I could try the same. I tried that with Kai, but it didn't work. I can try that with Lauren next. Okay, Lauren, I'm gonna delete your account here. Let's see how that works.
We're working our way down the list.
Okay, I'm doing Lauren. Is that fixing it, Kurt? Have you heard anyone confirm?
Haven't heard yet.
Okay.
So it doesn't seem like that's helping Madeline yet.
Okay. Okay. Hey, Kurt, how about this point? We just have there's looks like there's only a handful left and we've tried to reset a few. Why don't we have them follow up after class?
Yeah,
You know, maybe there's a delay in sending and just depending on who they forwarded their emails to, there might be a slight delay. So we'll just wait.
Okay.
And then, so if you guys are still, looks like Lauren's still having problems too. Go ahead and if you don't have an email from them by this evening, let us know. And then we'll see if we can get your account fixed. But it looks like we're only down to about 4 or 5 of you. So
okay.
at this point, I think time's better well spent. We got about 5 minutes left or so. Maybe we could go through the what's due next week and.
Yeah, so what I would say is if you don't have your Vital Source account working yet, it's the least important of the 3. So we will get that working in the next day or so. So don't stress about that. It's just the slides that you'll already see in the AWS course. So Darren, let me share my screen again here, and we're just going to tie up class here in the last couple minutes to make sure you understand what's due next week. Okay, so you'll follow the flow of activities down, and the last activity is activity 5, and that is basically go through the AWS course and completely go through all of the content of module 1. So that includes a bunch of videos, it includes an assessment, and all of that is inside the AWS training class. And what you're going to do is you're going to be ready to come to class on Wednesday next week, and we are going to give you a quick assessment, and we're going to talk about anything that we're not doing well on.
Hold on, Kurt. Aren't we going to switch that to homework because there's not enough time? Did you still want to?
I wanted to do just a short quiz at the beginning, Darren.
Okay.
Just to get everybody there and taking the in-class quiz. And then what we'll do is we'll talk about that. We'll talk about any questions you have, anything you're not clear on. We'll likely give a little bit of demo at times. So that's the plan for you over the week, is to complete module 1. Now, if you're up for it, there is a challenge lab. And again, a challenge lab is a way that Darren and I can kind of go deeper and make it a little more difficult and challenging than just the standard canned labs. And so if you'll click here, again, it's optional, not one of the required assignments, but that gives you a little detail on how to get into Vocarum, what to click through in the console, and we'll do the same activity that Darren demoed today, but you're on your own, okay? The final thing in the week is just a recorded demo of me doing that exact thing. So that's only if you want to watch somebody else do it. Okay, so we're at about 4 minutes left, so I'll just stop and see if there's any questions. We do have some accounts that are still working on it, but
Hey, Kurt, can I add to that real quick?
please.
So we're going to put this, aren't we going to put the Socratic quiz link as part of their homework as well? Because there's 20 or so questions, right?
So where is that going to go, Darren?
Don't we want to, we had talked to preserve the class time.
Okay, where's it going to go? We're going to put it right after activity 5?
Yeah, or as part of activity 5. What we're going to do is just like you guys did that Socratic quiz today live with us, we're going to set up another quiz. It'll be the same thing. You'll click the link, you'll enter your username, and then you'll take that quiz after you've watched the module, right? So instead of us spending the entire class time going through 20 questions or so, you're going to take that before class, and then that will allow us to spend class time answering questions and going into areas and further explaining. Does that sound okay, Kurt, or you want to?
That's good.
It? Okay.
So expect us to add that down there at the bottom.
So first, are there any questions on, okay, someone's asking, Are you answering Mark's question?
Yes.
So yeah, what's expected is that just to watch the module and get your training account set up, and then take the assessments that are part of that module, and then when you're all done, put your notes away, put your, don't necessarily have all that, and just take the assessment and see where you stand, right? Because our assessment's intended to maybe mirror or pull out things that will come up on the exam, and it'll give us an opportunity to reinforce those things that you guys are weak on for that module. Any questions about what's due?
So just to kind of clarify the difference between what's listed on Canvas and then the lab portions within Vocarum,
Yes.
we should use Canvas as kind of our first introduction to the content and go through all those module pieces, and then move to Vocarum / the AWS training to do those labs.
Right, so in this order. So this week we have added introductory materials. Let me share the screen here. So normally, the bulk of the content will be from Amazon, right? So go home here. So these activities are pretty much going to be for this week only, right? This is meant to level set you guys for those that are weak on the IT background, because the prereqs for this course are a solid IT background. So that's the idea between activity 1, 2, 3. Honestly, if you guys are really strong with these, just go straight to the quiz and verify that you understand these basic, sort of background tasks. The week cadence is going to look like this. What you really are supposed to do is you're going to go to the persistent links and you go to the training one, right? Which this is how to register. I'm going to edit this page and add another link. So what you're going to do typically is go to, it's very simple, aws.training. Okay, and you guys have all should have had that. And then you're going to log in. So let me, password. And then in your transcript, you guys should all see Academy Cloud Foundations, right? You're going to click on that and you're going to go through this, right? And by modules, he means module 1. So you can see there's an introduction, intro to cloud, there's advantages, there are all these 5 minutes, they're all pretty quick, right? And then there's module 2. So this week, we're going to go through just through module 1, and you're going to take at the very end, there's a knowledge check wrap up. And then you're going to go take our quiz. Is that clear, Lauren?
Yeah, that makes sense. And so I was testing out that page. When you click on launch from one of those areas, that's where you're actually being taken to Vocarum, and that's where we're going through those steps in that lab. Yeah,
there's 2 sites. So there's the Vocarums are, for the lab, right? So when you click, this is a video, and you guys are going to have the same pop-up problems that has come up in the past. So make sure you, did it even launch for me? Yeah, and you don't, that was the other thing, is you don't click on, it's misleading. People think you just click on the title. You have to click this launch thing. And did I have that same problem? Is it working for me? Anyway, launch, no. So you click the launch, that's correct. I think I've already finished that. I've already done this course, so I think it's freaking out because I've already done all this stuff. I don't see another window. Or did it launch? No. So hopefully you don't have this problem, but click through the module itself and watch that video. And then you're right, where there is the lab, where's the lab on this? There's no lab yet, right? The first module 1, I don't believe has a lab, right? Where's the first lab? Technical support module. I don't see the labs.
There was one lab exercises section listed at the very top, but we should just skip that first one and focus on the modules, is what you're saying.
Yeah, typically they'll call out I don't know, I'm sorry, this isn't working for me. Typically they'll call out where the lab is within the modules, because you don't basically do all the labs on day 1. The labs are interwoven within the modules for the right section. Does this look, I apologize because I haven't done this course in a while. Does this look like your screen, or does it look slightly different? Because I think they came out with a new version of the course, and I might have the older version of the course here.
But Darren, the answer to her question is yes. Go past the labs and work on the modules.
if they're included in the module, right?
No, I'm talking about you have the labs tab open right there. So close the lab tab right there, the little down arrow under student guides, close that.
Oh yeah, and then start here.
Skip lab exercises and go to modules.
Correct.
Yep.
Do you have the latest version in your transcript, Kurt?
Yes.
Maybe you could share yours because this is maybe confusing.
Mine looked the same as yours, Darren.
Okay, good. So you get the idea. Click through the modules, watch the modules, take the assessment that's part of the modules, and then take our Socratic quiz.
Great, thank you. That helped to explain the connection between AWS and Vocarum and where those things are coming together.
Great.
Thanks for asking. It helps us know where you're confused. So that's all for class today. We're just going to hang out and try to answer any final questions you have.
So do we do anything in Vocarum then this week?
Nope.
Okay, thank you.
So I'm going to clear the hands because I'm not sure those are still current. And Darren and I are just standing by answering questions and helping out if you're stuck.
Otherwise, we'll see you next Wednesday.
I have a question.
Sure.
So when I try to sign in into the training
Yes.
for AWS, it takes me to the new account setup. When I literally click sign in and it takes me to the new account setup. I don't know if it's a bug.
Do you want to share your screen?
Yeah, I can share my screen. Let's see. Do you see this?
Yep.
Okay.
So do you have an email with Amazon currently? Do you use your Cal Poly for another Amazon account?
Honestly, I don't think so.
Okay, good. It looks like you're good. So it's saying new
Yeah.
account setup. This looks good.
Yeah. I already, okay. Let me just complete it in front of you. It's United States. I can just type it. Pacific. Okay, and then I'm gonna register. And it says that I already have an existing email.
Go try again.
So I'm gonna.
Do you forget your password?
No, so I'm gonna sign in with the one I have.
Okay.
So I'm gonna click sign in. And it takes me here, right? And then it just becomes like new account setup.
You're in a loop.
Yeah, I don't know how to get out of it.
When you clicked on the, so it's interesting.
Because when the first time I registered, it worked and I got in. Mm-hmm. And then I went on module activity 5 and I clicked on there to see if it's gonna work for me.
Yeah.
And I'm on this loop from there and I'm not able to sign in.
How do you break this account? Scroll down a little bit. There's an interesting. Huh. Do you have an existing Amazon account? that's not Cal Poly?
Yeah, I do.
I wonder if it's got a cookie or something. Maybe you could close the browser and clear all cookies, or try a different browser. Like try an incognito mode. That would do it. You know what that is?
I don't know what that is.
What browser are you using?
Chrome.
So when you go to this is Windows. How do you launch a new window? Can you do, hey Kurt, how do you do incognito mode on Windows?
In
Chrome.
stand by, let me see. I think it's at the
.. maybe next to your name.
Yep, that's where it is. Upper right corner, ..
Okay.
Third item is new incognito window.
Okay, control.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so try again. Go to aws.training. Enter. Oh, you know, that was interesting. Hold on. Go back to aws.training again, because it tab completed. .training. Finish the word training. And then get rid of all, and then hit enter. There we go. Okay.
I'm
So
gonna click sign in. Okay.
There we go.
I'll click not now, just for time's sakes.
Oh,
I'm
man.
back on the loop. Yeah. Should I just wait?
Yeah, I guess. Try it one more time though, because we are in this new. Go back. Just enter. Just enter. What is required? Is that all? Just click by registering. Forget all the other stuff.
Okay, I'm gonna complete this stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, it says I have an account.
Do you work for Amazon?
I don't work for Amazon though.
I just know they have single sign-on. It says there if you're an Amazon employee, use a different link.
It's weird because it worked the first time.
And then you got into this loop again, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, try again tonight. If it doesn't work, let us know. Otherwise, you
Okay.
have to use a different email.
Okay, I'll let you know. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Good luck. Calvin, are you set?
So Darren,
Yeah.
can they use a different email for AWS training?
Yeah, that's what I suggested.
Is that right? They can use a non-Cal Poly?
Yeah, it's just single sign-on with Amazon.
So can he get on to Amazon.com?
Beto, you're still there. Maybe try your Amazon.com account, because you know that password already, right?
Yeah, I do know. Okay, let me.
You can switch to that if the Cal Poly one doesn't work.
Okay. I'm gonna sign in with. Should I sign in with that one or create an account with that one?
No, just sign in with that one, see if it works.
Okay.
Oh wait, no, you have to click on that sign-on link, and the sign-on link
Is
allowed
typed.
you had to pick an email when you clicked on that sign-on link, right?
Yeah.
So it's whatever email you've associated with that sign-on link is the one you have to log in with. So you might have to click the sign-in link again, or the training link. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the one to create the account.
Yeah, you might have to do that one with a different.
Okay, let me see.